Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us, Brooke and I, as always.
Hello.
Hey, what's up, Brooke? Always good to see you. Thank you. Hope you guys are well, and thank you for bearing with us during the time off. It really helps us to kind of get our ducks in a row with all the hecticness that's happening, and especially with all the energy shifts that are happening, which we definitely talk about today, which are huge. I know Brooke is going through a ton right now, and I've had a few incidents myself that we really want to talk to you guys about. So actually, we'll let Brooke, if you're cool with it. If not, no.
Yeah, it's crazy because a little bit ago, like I had all this crazy energy, and then you gave me a break in between when we were going to start, and I was feeling calm and collect, and I'm feeling so much energy right now. My stomach just started pounding, my heart is pounding. So clearly, I was thinking, oh, good thing we didn't deliver this message earlier when I was very passionate about what I was going to say. And I felt good about being calmed down, but by the feeling I have in my gut, I think I'm supposed to be very passionate right now as I'm saying these things.
Yeah. Well, I was telling you earlier too. I've definitely getting messages that you have a message that needs to be heard. So yeah, let that stuff fly.
Yeah. So, I mean, anybody listen to the last podcast, I said that I've been sitting with some things and trying to discern them and figure out if they were just for myself or to be shared. It's just so, like, I've never felt like this I've never felt like this before. Like, I am just, yeah. So let me get my head straight right now. So I've definitely come to, and Chris and I talked about a week ago about the next topic of talking about the 3D to 5D. That's a big thing right now. It's something that I feel like people are looking for a lot of information on. And I know that a lot of the information, a lot of it's very similar. And so my idea last week when it was coming to me was to kind of put a little bit of a different spin on it. One that's not so vague, because I feel like there's like a lot of vagueness to a lot of what's going on right now. And that's going to continue to be there. The vagueness is going to be there because I don't believe not a single one of us knows exactly how this is going to look and exactly how this is going to go down.
Yep.
And I don't think we're made to know exactly how it's going to go down.
Yeah, totally.
It's like you have people talking about certain dates right now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that they work in dates like that. You know what I mean? You have a lot of people talking about very specific dates and times. And, so a lot of these things have been stirring up a lot of just questions in me. And for a long time, I was right on board. I was right on board with a lot of what I was seeing, a lot of what I was hearing. And then just different thoughts started coming to me. And I'm like, why? I can't be the only one that's having these slightly different thoughts, of what's going on. And I thought all the questioning in my life was over, like maybe like a year ago when I had a paradigm shift and I got on this new track, and I thought the questioning was over. I thought that I knew what was going on now and how things were going to go down. And this week, things have shaken me. I've been questioning everything. A lot of the sites I'm on, the Lightworker sites, and it's like, we think that the point I'm going to come around to is, do not be disillusioned. This is a time where your discernment, not what I'm saying now, not what somebody else is saying, your discernment is going to come into play. We like to think that it's cut and dry. We clearly see what we think is light. We clearly see what we think is dark. We clearly think, and it's not really that clear and easy. There's still a lot going on. So what brought me to a lot of this are certain thoughts that I've been having that I didn't know if I was to keep them to myself or share them. And one of them was this feeling that I'm not going to be here much longer. Now, what does that mean? I don't know what that means. But on posts that I've been on, I'm seeing other people saying the same thing. And because I've had this feeling, I have an understanding of what they're saying. Now I read down to the comments on these posts, and all I'm seeing is, oh, don't say that. Positive vibes only. Positive vibes only. This positive vibes are great. I'm never gonna, and I feel like I'm gonna contradict myself a lot, I think, during this podcast. Positive vibes are great. Positive vibes are amazing. But that's not all there is. And positive vibes are a great thing to have in your head to remember how to pull yourself out of certain places when you need to, when you have to function in life, when you have to go to work. It's good to have all these tools that Chris and I have been giving you on how to find certain peace and how to find certain calm. These tools are great. But what I'm finding is there are so many people doing this positive vibes, that the people that are feeling other things right now are starting to feel it's causing suffering. It's causing suffering in the people that are going through some things right now, to think, if I'm not all positive vibes right now, there must be something wrong with me. No, you're growing. You are growing. There is healing and suffering. There is knowledge, and that is when we get into these places, all the answers aren't found just when we're in the light and bright on the other side of the rainbow. I've always found more answers in the darkness and I've got a lot of wonderful things from the light. And when I say light and darkness, I'm not talking about good versus evil, good and bad. But when you're in that place, that's when you're growing. That's when you're learning. But we all know the lotus flower growing in mud. We all know about seeds planted in the dirt. These are the times. So do not, if you are feeling a certain way, and a lot of people are right now, I am surrounded by it.
And we're a certain way. We're referring to like low vibrational, like sadness or frustration or anger. Is that what you're referring to? I just want to make sure.
So it is. And this is where I've been questioning. Like, we're labeling these things, and me too. I've done this too. And like I said, I'm going to contradict myself a lot. We've labeled these things low vibrational. You know what I mean? But are they? Is it when we're in the dark and we are learning and we are growing, can we call that low vibrational? You know what I mean? And I think this is where, when I'm talking about discernment, this is where I'm talking about. I think there's a difference between being low vibrational, and that would be when your ego is stepping in. And that would be when your ego is feeding you, I'm not good enough. You can't do this. You can't. That I would call low vibrational. But
yeah, I'm sorry. I was going to. So I look at it from an energetics perspective. When I feel energy that is making me feel as if I should be, when you feel it, you almost feel like you're down. You feel like you're not in a good spot. That to me is it's an energy that vibrates on a lower frequency. And that's when I say low vibrational, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. And I 100%, 100% get that. It's like, and that's why I feel like what I'm trying to say is so fuzzy and going to be, and that's why it's hard for me to find the words for it.
Well, I get what you're saying, in that from it comes an extremely high vibration in that less learning.
Yes.
Yeah, totally. That makes sense.
And so, as long as we're here to experience the polarities.
Mm-hmm.
We're here to experience, and every situation that happens, whether it looks like a tragedy or it looks like this or something's going on, I've always been able to find that polarity. I can find, if I were to look at it in this way, I can find that, and I've always called myself the silver lining chick. And not everybody appreciates the silver lining chick, because people don't always want the silver lining. I've always been able to see that other side of it, but I've also been able to see the bright side of it, and that is what I think that we're here to experience, is that polarity.
Mm-hmm.
But so, yes, this last week or so, I found myself, made a post yesterday. Let me rewind. I have told myself I'm going to stop looking for information. And then on the other hand, I can say that I don't really look for information. The only time I've ever looked for information is when I've been sitting with a thought for a long time. And then I finally go, I wonder if somebody else feels this way. And then I've looked up information, and it's always been confirming. But with all the thoughts that I have coming in recently, I'm trying to stay away from information because I want to know that it's what I'm getting, and I don't want something else to be in my subconscious because I've read it somewhere, or I've seen it somewhere, I've heard it somewhere. I'm really trying at this time to use my discernment. But I think just my biggest message right now is, if you are not positive vibes and love and light, that's fine. It is fine, because if you are somewhere else, you are growing. And I will tell you that I have had, in this last week, I feel like the lessons are being piled on. I've had in this week, I feel more lessons than I've had over certain years of periods. Like, so when we talk about like the energies that are going on now, of course we have a retrograde. Of course, and when I said I was going to stop looking for information, I stumbled across this woman. And by the way, we are judgmental as people. She didn't have the look that people would typically go to listen to. She didn't have the sound that people would listen to. But through all these questioning that I've been going through, and I said I wasn't watching anything else, her video popped up. And I had to click on it. And oh man, like everything she said resonated so much more than what I've been seeing and questioning with, all this love and light. And love and light is great. Yes, that's what we're here for. That's what we want. That's what we want. So don't think I'm talking, against that. But
you can't have light without the darkness.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
Exactly.
And so I knew I was going to be scattered on this, because there's just so many thoughts and feelings that I've been having over the last week. But let's just bring it into talking about 3D and 5D. And I think this will help sort some other things out. And anything I say right now, you're hearing my truth. Doesn't have to be your truth. It doesn't have to be, this is where I've come to for my truth. And Chris's may be different. And I want to hear, if I'm talking about the 3D, 5D, I want to hear Chris's perspective. So, I know that I'm on this rant right now, but I also want to hear from you.
Well, I was just going to say, before we get into that 5D and 3D consciousness, would you mind if we were to just recap? Because there are some things that you bring up there that are very important to understand. And the first one I want to talk about is the discernment that you spoke of, where we each have, and discernment, I assume you mean your truth and your intuition. Follow your own intuition and trust in what you feel as part of your own being. Is that accurate?
Right. And the tricky part of discernment is we all can go, oh, I know good from bad. I know right from wrong. I know it goes deeper than that. We can hear a lot of things that sound great. And because it sounds so good at the time, we want to go with it. We want to fully be in that thing. And so we go with it. So when I say discernment, I mean on all sides, like not just, oh no, I think that's coming from a dark place. I think that's the, that's the ego, or that's the dark one, or that's the discernment has to come from everywhere. Just because something sounds light and love and fluffy, that we have to use discernment there also.
Yeah. And you were saying before about somebody saying they are not going to be here, and people kind of judging that as saying only love and light here and positive vibes. And honestly, when I hear that statement, I don't think of that in a negative way at all. Honestly, I look at that as, I'm definitely someone that subscribes to, hey, we all have our own truth and your truth is yours. And that's completely fine. That's why we say religious people, hey, you have your belief and we don't judge it and go with it. And so yeah, when I hear that, that's definitely something that's like, hey, good for you. I mean, I don't look or view whatever way you would say that, somebody would say that, whatever way, I do not look at that as something that could be a negative thing. You know, that's, hey, that's what you believe, and that's, go for it. You know, if
Yeah,
that's
and
inside.
I've been on the negative end of that thought.
Mhm.
Oh, believe me, I've had that thought of like, get me out of here now. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like, I can't do this anymore. I don't want to be here. I want to go now. So
Yeah.
I've had that other
Mhm.
one.
Yep.
This is not that. And this is not that. Me feeling like I'm not going to be here. And like I said, I didn't know if I was alone in that thought. And scrolling the other day, I realized I was not. And it was kind of cool. But if I'm going by what I'm meaning when I say I'm feeling this, and I have to assume that there is something collective going on with the others that are saying it. We're not saying, ooh, forget this place. It's getting so nasty here. I want out. I've done that before, but that's not what this is.
Yeah.
There's a peace with this. There's a complete and absolute peace with this. And what does it mean exactly? I don't know.
Mhm.
You know, does it mean death to this world? I don't know. I don't really feel that. But we don't know what it's going to look like. We don't know what it's going to look like when people exit, ascend, you know, however all of this is going to go down. And I guess what's been bringing me mostly to these questions when we're talking about 3D and 5D and ascension is I have some different feelings than the things that are going on. But before I get into that, I want you to finish questioning me.
Oh yeah, no. There was one more that I forget now off the top of my head. There was one more, and I do apologize, I forget. But I just want to, all I'm trying to do there is just trying to help, you know, make sure we establish, okay, what are we meaning in certain things so that people can follow us. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, I think we're good now. If I remember it, I'll bring it up again. I apologize. And I
Yeah.
don't mean to cut you off or anything like that. I want you to get your point across for sure. I just
Yeah. And you know, it's like some thoughts were organized before I did this. Some of them weren't organized. I was counting on my body and mind and help from above to help organize it. And I still feel like it's coming out as a bit of senseless babble at times.
yeah, no, you're good. I mean, right now there's some stuff going on that's just crazy. It's driving people nuts, and definitely being in the retrograde, definitely knowing that we're shedding energy as both we and the energies around us are ascending. It's a ton. It's a lot going on. So there is definitely a lot of confusion,
Yeah.
a lot of energy that we need to spend some time with to understand a little bit more. Because I agree,
Right.
I was feeling a lot last week too. So, yeah.
And I think the biggest thing I just wanted people to understand is that you know, I hear a lot from a large group of, you know, all this beauty that's coming. And it is.
Yeah.
It is. I promise you. I promise you the beauty is coming.
Mhm.
But a lot of them aren't talking about what's happening, what could happen before that, you know? And I say that because I feel what's coming.
Mhm.
My truth, I feel what's coming. And the reason I feel that it's true is this thought of things just getting gradually better, and consciousness is being raised and all that. It's great. And but things have to break. We have to be crumbled to the ground to be rebuilt.
Yeah.
And people are forgetting that part. And
Well, are they forgetting it, or they just don't want to focus on it though? You know,
I think it's that they don't
that's
want to
not something
focus on it.
yeah, I don't focus on it. That's for sure.
So they don't want to focus on it because, granted, our sights should be on the beauty that's coming. That should be where our focus is. But I don't want anybody to be caught off guard,
Mm.
people that are maybe newly awakening
Yep.
and seeing these posts, and they only are thinking like, wow, it's coming, great things are coming. They're going to be shaken to the core
Mhm.
and very confused when things don't look like they thought they were going to look.
That's a good point.
And my thing right now is I don't give these warnings to put anybody in a fear state. That's the last thing we want to do.
Exactly.
That's the very last thing. But I feel like just to be aware, like as much as I thought I was ready a few months ago for some certain thoughts or certain feelings or things I thought I dealt with, I wasn't ready for this week. I wasn't ready for what came up in me this week. I wasn't ready to feel the way I felt this week. So as much as we think we're ready, and I I think a lot of us are like, yeah, we're ready, and I get that, and I think we are, but we don't know what that looks like until we see it.
Yeah.
And like I said, the bigger the storm, the bigger the rainbow. But I do believe the storm is coming, and I don't say that for anybody to be in fear, because like I said, that is the opposite. It is the opposite of where we want people. But I think the more you're just aware of what's going on, the more you can, as much as possible, mentally prepare your heart, mentally prepare your mind. But we're all, no matter how ready we think we are, we're all going to get shaken a little bit, and
You ride the wave with a sense of calmness.
yes.
Yeah.
And that luckily has been my gift. I can go through some very minor things and go outside and punch a tree down. But yet every time in my experience a major storm has come through, I'm calmer than, I'm like, what is wrong with me? Why am I so calm? So in one way, I feel like this is what I'm here for, to be the calm in the storm.
Totally.
But I want people just to know just how to prepare your hearts, and remember that in every belief system that I've ever looked into across the board, it's do not be afraid. It's do not be afraid. It doesn't mean you're not going to have moments of being shaken, but all in all, so yes, do focus on what's to come afterwards. But there's just going to be,
I would say be
something
in the
before
moment,
that.
personally.
Absolutely. And that's even a thought that came to me when I talked about like that I don't even see a future anymore for myself as my, and I thought about that, and I'm like, or have I mastered the moment? That's just a thought that came to me, is that I hear the last 5 conversations I've had with people, they were talking about future, and not the future that we're talking about. They're talking about life in general, of, oh, I got to get this job, and then when I do that, oh, I was supposed to do this right now, and in my head I'm just going, stop it, stop, just come back, be right now, because all that stuff's going to come, all that stuff's going to work out.
Yep.
But we need to be right here. And so that thought has occurred to me, is that some of these feelings I'm having is because it's to just be right here, right now. Because then we have to use discernment when we're getting, downloads and we're getting communication. There has to be discernment on how many different things that this could mean. And they may give us a thought or an idea to get us in a different perspective. And right now, that's one of my thoughts, is that my perspective is being in the moment, and not showing me a future to worry about, not showing me a future to look forward to, just to make sure that I am staying in this moment.
Yep.
So I've come to a lot of different conclusions on what this could be. But all right, I'm going to jump into 3D, 5D a little bit. You want to start with anything with that?
Well, yeah. So I will say that we've discussed this a little bit in a podcast way back when, on these dimensions are conscious levels, and we've said that a number of times. Even recently, there is a conscious level, a consciousness with each dimension, and these conscious levels are important to be aware of as we are maneuvering through them. So like real quick, if I may, so like your third dimensional conscious level is finding happiness external you. So you're like, okay, I need more money or to be happy, or I need to buy these jeans or these sneakers or that car or this house. I need to have 5 rooms. That's all third dimensional type of conscious level. And fourth dimensional conscious level, you're beginning to know that you are bigger than, you start to go internal for your happiness. You're bigger than these external items, and your happiness comes from within. And then fifth level, you start to realize your own soul and the importance of kind of working with within yourself. So just to give you a quick, that's just giving you a quick rundown of what these conscious levels are associated with. And actually I was reading a website. I don't want to take up too much time, but I just want to run through these quick bullet points for each of the dimensions real quick, for the third through fifth. The third, I am a person, a thinker, and I'm on a website called Fractal Enlightenment, Fractal Enlightenment .com. I am a person, I am a thinker of these thoughts, and these thoughts, I seek happiness outside of myself. I must compete with others in order to make it so that I can get my share of abundance. These are all third dimensional mindsets. Life is characterized by polar opposites. They are good decisions, bad decisions, good thoughts, bad thoughts, good people, bad people, for example. So these are all third. Fourth dimensional bullet points. Again, they're real quick. I'm angry because I've been lied to. I must warn and tell others about my Illuminati, the government, reptilians. This is fourth dimensional thought mindsets. Since on some level, I believe that I am my own mind. I am weary of things like mind control and subliminal messages. I may take on a spiritual themed ego structure, and I may judge those who still eat meat, watch news, drive a car, etc. More knowledge and better understanding seem to be the key to my fulfillment. Ego is my ultimate enemy, and therefore my goal is to get rid of it. These are all fourth dimensional conscious level thoughts.
And what I just want to interject right here while I remember. And I think this is where a lot of this came into me this week. We see a lot of channelings, like from the Galactic Federations, from the, and do I believe in the Galactic Federation? I do believe in the Galactics. Absolutely. However, I feel like when I'm reading some of those channelings, I'm seeing a lot of possibly the channeler's ego coming into play.
Yeah.
And that's something that a couple months ago I wasn't recognizing. I was like, oh, look at that. Like, oh, wow, that sounds great. But it's just like this week that I'm just like, no, like, yes, I see this. This is, and there's other parts I'm just like, you know what I mean? It's so I've really been those are some of the things on my personal discernment level that have been coming in. While Chris and I have given everyone tons of tools, I'm seeing these channelings saying that, like, you must do this, you must do that, you must do this for your body, you have to do this calibration, this. They're doing it. Are there things that we can do to help? Absolutely. Are there things that we must do or we're not going? No. Mm-hmm. My truth. No. You know what I mean? That's just what I'm saying.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So those have been some of the things this week that, I feel that my discernment has been coming in on. It's just for an example, those kind of things where I think I do believe in the messages. I do believe in the galactics. I do believe in many forces that are helping us right now. But I personally feel like that I am seeing some ego or just personal, gain coming up into those.
Well, that's definitely something that I've thought of before, and I feel like I'm beginning to see a little bit about what's happening, in that, obviously, because I'm a channeler, so I know a little bit about it. They definitely work on. So it's like take a medium per se. I don't get a lot of information about people that have passed in this realm very well. So like if I were to channel for you and your grandmother or somebody were to come through, I couldn't tell you that they like to make meatballs all day long, or I couldn't
Yeah.
tell you that they like, that's just not information I get, because I'm operating on we're operating on different levels. But there are other people that get that really well. So they may interact. It's like a strength of what dimension you work with very well. And there are some that work really well in that third dimensional energy, fourth, fifth dimensional energy. And because they work very well in that, and with those conscious levels, they get that information much better. And that's what I think that what you're hearing there. I don't know if we lost her. Oh, okay.
No.
Your screen went blank, so I wasn't sure.
I know. I get phone calls. I push decline. It takes me a minute to come back.
So, and that's what I have found. Like if I'm operating in the third and fourth dimensional conscious level, which we do maneuver throughout them, I find, frequently, depending on where you are, that, yeah, information does slip in from the, for sure. And you definitely have to be mindful of that when you are channeling.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, hey, I could be wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They may be exactly right. I'm just going, what I'm saying is my truth and my feeling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
like that's wrong. That's just your truth. That's your truth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, they may be writing down exactly what they're getting. They may be the clearest channel that exists here right now. And that's what they're getting. Like, I don't know, but something in me recently has been, and I feel like I'm sounding like a negative Nancy on this thing. And I'm not. I just am feeling, like I said, very fiery and passionate right now. And I'm not being I'm not trying to be negative at all, but this is where I say, like, discernment is huge right now. I had something else, but go ahead.
Well, but your discernment thing is a very important aspect of all of this. Like the trust that you have in yourself is so key. So trust what you're feeling. And
I'll tell you, the reason I do trust what I feel is that I sit with it. Even when I do my channeled writings and my channel, and like I look at it and I try to think, did I say this part? Was this part of me coming in, or a higher self of me, or I question everything that I write. And yes, they tell me to trust. They tell me to trust, and I do trust. But I also want to look deeper into it for a deeper discernment of the message, and so I'm not questioning it in a not trust way. I'm questioning it in a, how much of me got in here, how much of this is, and I feel like it's worked out, that it has gone, well, it's not so much this, but it is this. But I question, that's why I say I'm not just questioning other people right now. I question myself.
Yes.
But not in a way that I don't trust, but just I still want to question.
Yeah, almost like a validating thing. You want validation. Yeah. And I'll tell you,
and they've blown my mind with validations. And I'm talking about, like, I feel like I'm in the Twilight Zone right now. Like, I'm almost to the point, like, stop showing me stuff. If I see one more freaking feather, I'm gonna freak out. Like, I'm getting overwhelming confirmations.
Absolutely. It is like the amount of communication that we're getting right now as we are going up in ascension. I feel like in this realm, they are working with us so much more and giving us so much more information. Yeah. And it's always, in my opinion, a better mindset to have of trust, even if we're not getting, like, I tell people this all the time. Even if you get something that might not be resonating with somebody at that moment, it is still better to trust. Like, and I always use the metaphor of a radio. We are all receptors. Doesn't matter who you are. We are all capable of receiving communication. It is just a matter of tuning. And one day that tune might be, if you have that little dial that you're turning, it might be off just a hair. And we interpret that sometimes as, oh man, I might not be getting good information, when in reality you're getting information. There just might have been a slight distortion at that moment, and but you bring up a great point in the sense that we need to sit with that for a little bit. And when they are communicating with us, they're going to offer validating points in a number of different ways.
And so that's, that I've been sitting with my whole like upcoming events, which there's no, do I know what they are? No, I don't know what they are, but it's just the feeling that, what is coming. And I've sat with that for months, and I finally, after some more writings, and I'm just like, I get real with them. You know what I mean? I get real. I'm like, okay, you realize you're telling me the same thing 20 different ways. They're like, yeah, because you're not saying anything about it yet.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh, okay. So, some things I do think are for ourselves, but I feel just that simple post that I put out yesterday was something they wanted me to share, that, that we are going to be feeling things, experiencing things. And I think the difference between what we've been experiencing so far this year has been a lot more in the energy sense. And like right now, what a lot of people are feeling right now is in the energy sense. And what I'm getting, and I feel that at this time, it's been validated enough for me to share, is that there's going to be a physical manifestation. There is going to be a physical scene that, because a lot of us question these energies. A lot of us question, there's some people that have no idea even about energies. You know what I mean? That was me 2 years ago. You know what I mean? That there is going to have to be something physical to shake people awake, and in that time, those of us that can have to be the calm and be the lighthouse in that time. And, so this isn't like a warning of fear, it's just a warning of preparedness, and that some of us, and we'll know right away if we're the light, you know what I mean? If we're the ones that are to be the calm in the storm. And the people that are not calm and okay, it's okay. It's okay, because they are going through what they're going to have to go through. But there will be those of us here to hopefully be able to be the calm for them.
Okay, so there is, and I appreciate you saying that, because right before you did, I kept feeling like you're holding back something. You're not telling us all, and I think you may have just. So thank you. So yeah, all right. So what are we saying here? There is an energetic shift, a growth that we're all going through, and we experience that in many different ways. You may feel it one way, I may feel it a different way, or we feel it as a sense of maybe negativity, but many of us don't know how to handle that when we do feel it. And that manifests itself in a multitude of ways. So like when I feel negativity, I'm very careful about how I let that go. Other people may not. You may be, okay, let me meditate on it. Let me run. Some people might get angry and have physical altercations or something like that. And that is, I believe, what you're trying to say. Like that may, I don't know.
Yeah. And to be honest, I'm both.
Yep.
And, one of our things here is to master our energy and control our energy, and easier said than done, because I have moments where I can be like Zen master,
Well, I would say
moments,
not control the energy, but control how it manifests outside of it. Yeah.
But I look at myself, and I look at how much coping and love and light that I have. And I also know that there's times that I'm out and go, I wish a mother would. You know what I mean? Like, I'm ready. That if I can feel like that, how is this energy affecting others right now? It's like, and I know what's going on, and I still have my moments that I wish you would. So how is this going to look, when, for a collective of people who don't know what's going on, and who are confused, and who are feeling a lot of anger and frustration. And, there's a lot of trigger points that are going on right now to kind of trigger these actions.
Yeah.
But I also feel like it has to happen. It's meant to be. And I know a lot of people are on this light path where they believe if they get enough collective meditation that this is a timeline we're just going to skip right over and not have to do it. And that's a wonderful thought. But I don't think it's made to be skipped over. I think it's made to be felt. It's made to be seen, made to be heard.
I would have to.
And that's my truth. And I don't want, and I've had people try to make me feel bad about having that truth going, oh, well, then you were just not on the light path. Oh, well, you're just, you got to get some more positivity in there. You better call in some more positive vibes because I'm being real, And
that's unfortunate that you had to experience that, but whatever, that's their truth, I guess.
Yeah. And like I said, I'm at a place where I'm able to, do I feel a certain way for other people when I see that, wondering like who's getting pulled into what, and you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Do I feel a certain way? I do. But at least I have enough awareness to have an understanding that we're all not at the same place, and we're not supposed to all be at the same place. Yep. We're all here at different levels of schooling. Exactly. And it's supposed to be like that. There's not one of us here that is above another. We are all exactly where we're supposed to be. And we say that all the time, yep. But it gets tricky, but when we're watching gurus and stuff, they make you think that if you're not, accepted, and yes, I know where we're supposed to be, but it doesn't mean that if you're not there that you should feel any suffering in the thought that you're having, because it doesn't go along with what a guru said or what somebody who's very spiritually enlightened said. Exactly. And yeah, so you were going to get into the fifth because I paused you and we got carried away on the fourth.
Oh yeah. Let me just pull it up real quick. All right. So the fifth dimensional conscious level is you're starting to realize and understand how powerful love is. And love is the only weapon that truly holds power.
Amen.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. It's so funny because I'm seeing an image right now on this website of 3 triangles. And no kidding, I just got a tattoo of 3 triangles on my arm. Awesome.
Did you?
Yeah. Yeah,
definitely. Can we get matching tattoos?
Where's
it at? Can we see it? Oh, okay. So I'm gonna get a matching tattoo. Me and Chris are getting matching tattoos, y'all. Nice.
That's funny.
Oh, did you freeze?
I'm here. Are you here?
Did we freeze?
No, I see it. Are you there?
Oh, there we go. Because as far as what I was seeing was you still holding your arm up for a couple minutes.
Oh, wow. Oh, yeah. No, sorry about that.
Yeah, that's fine.
So to continue on the fifth dimension, I am no longer attached to my labels, but see myself as an ever-changing field of consciousness. I ultimately hold the power to create my perception of reality. Nothing is inherently good or bad. Nothing has power over me and my reality unless I have some level of agreed to it. I have on some level agreed to it. Judgment now has become discretion. Although I no longer judge people from a moral standpoint, I use discretion in what I spend my time and energy on. I am beginning to see that God, the universe, or source lies within myself. And then the next one is, as the master inside of me begins to awaken, I realize I have held the power all along. The fear of mind control and manipulation drops away. So that's all fifth dimensional conscious levels. So you can see the progression there and how powerful they are as we maneuver.
And you just answered a lot of questions for me, because when I've been going through sheddings lately, I keep trying to say, like, what is there left to shed? I mean, now that sounded a bit uppity, but it's not what I meant. I meant that, like, I know a lot of people who have had traumas, who have had like things like that go on. And I understand that there's a lot of shedding to be done and they're emotional. But when it comes to like my personal life, I've had a great life. I'm very fortunate to say I've had little to no traumas. Other than the trauma of maybe my ego, you know what I mean? Like, that is probably the only thing I can attribute to any suffering that I've been through is simply by my own doing. Yeah. Not through. So when I've been saying, like, what is it that's coming out of me now? What is it that's coming out of me now? And like you just answered it, because as much as I like to have thought that I was a little closer to fifth dimension, come to find out that's what's happening now, is that a lot of stuff that you just said about the fourth versus the fifth, now I see where my shedding is happening.
Mm-hmm.
Now I see some of those things that I was even talking about 3 months ago that are no longer part of my truth.
Yes.
That's where even, I get uncomfortable. Before, months ago, it was like, oh, I'm a star seed. I'm a this, I'm a that, oh, this is so cool. And, part of me kept leveling that down, going, yeah, but you're not special, so I got that. Like, I got that. But I didn't truly get it. And like, now I'm to the point to where it's like, I really don't want that label. I don't want that, we're all here. We are all something. We are all, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want a label put on me that would make somebody else feel like there's something to that I have this label on. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So now I'm starting to see what it is that I'm shedding, and I'm shedding a lot of fourth densities right now.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's where all this came in this week is.
Yeah. Well, when we go through these retrograde periods, and I say retrograde because I equate retrogrades as like aspects of shedding as well, because we're
Absolutely. I mean, everything is connected to what is going on in the cosmos.
totally
Like that's how it's it's everything as far as I'm concerned.
Yep.
And
And when we go through these retrograde periods, how I and I got this representation of a retrograde, like what a retrograde actually is, from somebody else a long time ago, and I apologize, I use it, but I forget who I got it from. But anyway, if you ever look at somebody riding a bike, the spokes on the wheels, as the bike is going forward, the spokes on the wheels look like they're going backwards. All right.
yeah.
That is
Yeah.
what a retrograde feels like. You're going
Yeah.
forward, but it feels like you're going back, because you're like, wait a second. Why do I feel all these feelings again? I felt them.
Yeah.
I've dealt with them before. Why am I doing this again? And that's what it feels like. You're still growing. We
Yeah.
are all still growing. And
I mean,
good.
yeah, no, I thought I was on this like slow and steady, and I was getting somewhere. And this last week, I was like, oh, yeah, I still got a lot to learn.
Yes.
And a lot has, I can't, so many lessons this week, so many lessons, even down to why there's certain people in my life, because it's like, hey, Brooke, you're still judging. So we're going to put this person with this same exact personality of somebody else that you're judging in your face constantly right now until you figure this shit out.
Well, that's
so
there, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah.
And well, there's a story. There was this a guy who talking to another person and telling them during a retrograde period that he was feeling, he was saying that there's this energetic shift going on with him. He's feeling a lot of negativity, and he didn't quite understand. Not he didn't understand, but he was just going through it, and he was questioning a lot during this time. He didn't really know. I mean, he expected to feel things, but I guess he didn't know what to expect. And then when he was feeling it, there was some confusion. And that definitely happens during retrograde periods. You question a lot of where you're going, what you're doing, and that's okay. But after he ended his story with this individual, a caterpillar comes walking right by his foot. And I feel like that is such a validating story for that person, because he just gets done saying that he's going through a change, and then not 1 minute later, he has a caterpillar walk right by his foot, which is a clear indication of a metamorphosis that is happening within him, within his energy. And that is basically what we're all going through at this moment. We're all going through that change. And while he may have seen a caterpillar, someone else may see a feather, like Brooke was indicating earlier, or someone else might actually hear a song, or we're all getting these validating communications.
Or a snake. Or a snake.
Yes, or the snake. See, you told that story was so cool, I felt. And I look at a snake a little bit differently in that there's grounding. When I see snakes, I'm like, okay, I need to ground more because they're
Right.
all, every aspect of their body is on the ground. Um, yeah, so absolutely right with that snake story that you were saying before. Yeah, so I'm sorry, I kind of lost train of my thought.
Sorry.
No, no, you're good. You're
We're
good.
talking about the caterpillar, and
Yeah.
then, like
Oh,
my feathers, the validations.
yeah. So we are all going through these changes and we feel them in so many different ways and we get validating aspects of the change in different ways. So just be open to how you get them, whether it be an animal, an insect, whether it be a feeling, a vibration, a song that comes on, um, a movie, you hear a quote, you see a video, something, you're going to get um, validating communication to let you know that it's going to be okay. And everything that we spoke of today is everything's going to be okay. It's just a matter of we don't grow without experiencing these senses of darkness, or if you even want to label it like that,
Yeah.
these situations that may make us feel a way that we may not want to feel, but we have to feel in order to grow.
Yeah. 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 So we have to. So, yes. And in between these moments, when you can sing, sing, when you can dance, dance, when you can laugh, laugh, if you can go lay in a mud puddle in the rain, do something insane, just in the moments in between, do something to create, make whatever it is that your soul needs to do in between these moments. Because the way I'm understanding it is the intense energy that is here right now. We may have this slight window, but basically there's going to be another energy compounding on top of what's already here. So, like I said, when you can find your moments in between these moments, sing, dance, love, go crazy.
Totally.
But hang on,
Yeah. Be easy on yourself.
hang on.
Be easy on yourself. Understand that these energies are going to come, and we're going to have to ride these waves. And
Yeah.
you ride them not by acting on the emotion, the energy, in a negative way. We act, responsible. We understand that, hey, we feel the energy and we know we have to move it, but the way in which we move it is very important.
Right. And so when I'm saying sing, dance, have fun, I don't mean to do those things to push down or hide the way that you're feeling.
Yep.
Because if you are in a moment where you have that density coming up in you, that's all we've ever done is push down. That's all we've ever done is keep it there. This is it being released. And so feel it. Feel it. We've talked before how painful healing is. Feel it, observe it, do the best you can to let it go, and know that you have help with you letting it go. So when I'm saying sing, dance, play, I'm not saying do that to keep these emotions down. I'm saying in between these releases, have a little fun.
Good stuff. All right.
Yeah.
You ready for a channel?
Absolutely.
All right. Awesome. Thank you. I've been hearing them like on and off throughout, but let's see what we get here. Gratefulness we bring about at this moment in time, my children, Enoch speaking. Beautiful are the notions and aspects that we speak of at this time, for it is imperative, important to the human collective that we begin to understand the energetic shifts that are occurring both in this atmospheric realm and others external this realm. There are shifts occurring throughout galaxies, including this current reality in third dimensional realm Earth. Beautiful energies are shifting as the collective begins to rise in its understanding consciousness levels. New understandings are being formed within individuals, and this will absolutely cause a change, a shift energetically and consciously within this realm. We encourage you all to be aware of it, but to fruition, we ask all to understand that it is necessary for this to occur, for the human consciousness to begin to ascend. As you all are, there are many obstacles that are being presented to the human race at this time that are not to be held on to. As the collective, we are encouraging you all to, yes, be the light, but also to hold true to who you are as an individual and of peace. Peace is important understanding at this time, both internally and externally. We want to be one with the light within yourself. And this is where you will find your truth, you all, my children. Be one with who you are and where you are going as an individual, knowing that each path is individualized, if you will. The timelines of each individual are different. Although you rise as a collective group. Okay, so I do want to point out that I am seeing these fields with a lot of people on it, but there are many different fields. For these are indications of the group that you travel with. Your group ascends collectively as one, but the earth is now collectively growing also as one, as a full group. Okay, so I can see it's almost as if there are many different, let's just say, fields, and each field has an individual, not an individual, has a group, a collective within that group. But then there is this huge field underneath of it all, and that is rising, pushing all up at the same time, which is pretty interesting. These are the visions that I'm seeing. For this is an accurate representation of the images that we show Christopher at this time, for you all are growing and ascending on a conscious level that is affecting the soul's growth, allowing for more light to be entered within the soul, and not only the soul, but the human body itself. This aspect is important to understand. As each rises, there is deeper levels of understandings that come with this rising, and the only way in which this understanding comes is through the shedding of old understandings that one thought or held on to. These are no longer important and being held on to, but actually being released. And this is an aspect of the ascension process. As the old moves out, the new moves in, and this transitional period is felt in many different ways throughout the human race kind. This realm in particular is one that is filled with much density, and thus these energetic shifts of the old moving out and new moving in are represented in a multitude of ways, violence being one of them, but not one to be held on to. These shifts, we encourage you to understand, will pass, and a greater level of peace will begin to ascend onto this realm. This is ultimately the purpose of the shift, of the old being released and the new being brought in. It is the filling of the bucket, if you will, as we begin to fill more light into this earthly bucket. More light and love is held on to, and old energies are being shed, peeled back as an onion, you will say. And for this, we thank you. But what we encourage you to understand is that as you hold on more to the peaceful aspects of yourself, and yourself is where the true power lies, you will understand that you can only control yourself and not those of others. We encourage you to love all as they are individuals of the light, knowing that their growth will come in time, my children. The aspects of divine timing are very true and something to be very cognizant of, aware. And this will allow you to find a greater peace and understanding in their individual growth level. May it be different than yours. And this is okay, my children. We encourage great peace throughout yourself. It is very important to pay close attention to your own self and your own growth purpose, and not that of others. For although they may be at a different place, their rising is imminent, is true, is happening. And for this, we are greatly appreciative of your awareness. Pay greater focus on your own ascension process and not those of our around you. For this will allow you great power over your own mental capacity, and thus also allow for more light to be worked through you. And this will be very helpful to those that may not be on the same level at which we are currently working at this time. and will be allow for our energy to be manipulated, if you will, into more love and shedding of more energies within an individual that may be more resistant to the transition. To these individuals, we say, thank you, for we are finding newer ways of working within the human race and allowing for all of you to grow. We are working diligently through all of you, beings of light and of acknowledgement of this growth and shedding. We work through you and your light, through your portals, if you will, that you have grouped, grown, extended throughout the dimensional realms. We maneuver through them to interact with those that may not be on such a level. But to you all, we are grateful, and we work with you all regardless. But through the light, we work more to assist those that may not be at the spot in time that we are hoping for. But all will rise in time, and for this we are grateful. Thank you. Enoch speaking. Thank you, Enoch, very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Trying to see if he has anything more, because I don't know why I felt that was a weird ending in the just what I typically feel. But
Yeah.
no, I think we are good. I think yep, I'm good. All right, cool.
You good?
Yeah,
You sure?
Yes.
Positive?
Yeah.
Sure? Yes, I think Enoch just said it in a much more in a better way without the ego, like I have coming up a few times during this podcast, maybe. I think he just said it in a much better way than I was trying to put it. So and no, like I was like, do I need to apologize for anything I said? And I mean, I don't think I do. Like I don't have any apologies except for the fact that maybe there was a little ego left in there, and that's what I'm shedding, and that's what I'm working on now. And I'm growing, so I'm not going to apologize for anything.
Or should you have to? I thought it was awesome.
Yeah.
I loved our fourth
Yep.
one, to be honest with you. Thought it was really cool.
Yeah.
So good stuff. All right, you good?
But definitely.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, just keeping on with the please be kind and patient to yourself and I have to keep saying this because I forget. I haven't been kind to myself and kind and patient to others. And of course this sounds like of course, but it's hard when you're in a place and then you have 1, 2, possibly 3, 4 others even in your household that are going through this too. It's hard. It's hard if you have to run away for a minute, run away. If you've got to bury your head in the sand for just a few minutes to get it back together, right now, just do what you have to do. But as long as you're here, you can pinch and go, yep, okay, I'm still here, then just keep hanging on. You're doing good. If you're pinching yourself and you're here, you are doing great. But just hang on. It's going to get bumpy, but it's going to be beautiful.
We are all here for a reason, for sure.
Yeah. Yes. Yep.
All right.
That's all.
Good deal. Well, thank you so much, Brooke. I appreciate it. Always, obviously. You're awesome. And
much love. You're awesome.
Totally. And thank you all for listening and putting up with our delayed coming to you guys now with the 2-week delay. It does help us though, and we appreciate your patience. And
oh yeah, I'm not even sure where I would have been last. I don't even know what day that would have fell on and where my head was that day. Not that I started off today any better, but yeah, that could have been whoo. Although there were times that I felt like I had to call out a message, you know what I mean? But I think all in all, I wouldn't have been ready.
I agree. Yeah, last week was rough. I agree. So
yeah. Hang on, people, hang on.
Totally. We all are going through it, guys. So it'll be okay. And,
it is true. Misery loves company. I love knowing other people are suffering with me also.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys all so much for listening and your patience. We love you all very much. And we'll see you soon in 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
You got it. See ya.